Live from downtown Detroit, home of WDIV and Click on Detroit, Local 4 News at 5 starts now.
Troy police say he was driving drunk right through the I-75 construction zone.
I don't know how he got up here, but he almost hit one of my employees.
And just wait until you see what police found in the back of the car.
Would you take another morning of snow showers if your afternoon looked like this? Hope your answer is yes.
All right, Ben, we're going to begin, though, at 5 with major developments in the worldwide fight against the coronavirus. The death toll in the U.S. is on the rise, and one country is taking drastic measures to try to slow the spread. Glad you're with us today at 5. The development's happening pretty much by the hour, sometimes seems by the minute.
It does. So let's get you caught up on today's big headlines. The state of California has declared its first coronavirus death, marking the first U.S. death outside of Washington state. That brings the total in the United States to 11. Meanwhile, Italy has ordered all schools closed and has banned people from attending sporting events until further notice.
Let's get over to Frank McGeorge with what's happening now here at home, Doc.
Yeah, Kim and Devin. In fact, lawmakers have reached a more than $8 billion deal to combat the coronavirus in the U.S., and testing is now expanded to anyone who needs it, although practically speaking, it's still going to be limited by the availability of test kits and doctors' discretion on who really needs to be tested.
Shifting front lines in the fight against coronavirus as new cases emerge. 6 in Los Angeles County, where officials declared a local health emergency to access additional resources.
We need every tool at our disposal to make sure that we are ready to support any coronavirus patients who are diagnosed and to prevent any further spread.
A school in Rhode Island closed after a third person associated with a school trip to Italy came down with coronavirus. And New York, confirming family members and a neighbor of a Westchester man with the virus have also tested positive.
We know what this coronavirus is. It is easily transmitted. But 80% of the people who get the virus will self-resolve.
Congressional negotiators reaching an agreement on $8.3 billion in emergency funding. The final bill could be on the president's desk by the end of the week and would help efforts to dramatically ramp up diagnostic testing. Officials shipping 75,000 new test kits, announcing any American can now be tested for coronavirus pending a doctor's order.
I want to thank those that are gathered around the table.
Vice President Mike Pence meeting with leaders from the nation's top diagnostic labs just after he and President Trump sat down with the CEOs of U.S. airlines.
All passengers on all direct flights from all airports in Italy or South Korea are being screened on multiple times before they board any of these airlines.
As the CDC instructs travelers returning from those regions, as well as Iran and China, to stay home and monitor their health for 2 weeks.
Now, the World Health Organization says now, globally, 3.4% of people known to have had the new virus have died. But experts caution that number will change again as we get a better idea of how many mild cases of COVID-19 are not being counted. By comparison, though, the death rate for SARS was about 10%, and the death rate for seasonal influenza is only about 0.1%.
But we still, that's our problem really is how few people have been tested. We really don't know how many people have it at the moment.
That's exactly it. I mean, the scope of the N, that is the denominator is just not completely clear. But the revision up of 3.4% is a significant change, I will say.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Doc. Well, the coronavirus roller coaster ride on Wall Street continued today, but this time it's very good news. At the close of trading, the Dow was up more than 1,100 points, posting the second biggest single-day point gain in history. The gains today represent 4.5% of the total value of the Dow index.
And our special coverage of the coronavirus will continue over our next 90 minutes of news.
Ahead at 5:30, the Doc is back with concrete answers to your coronavirus questions. Also at 5:30, Help Me Hank is in with the 4 things you need to be thinking about when it comes to the coronavirus.
And at 6, Help Me Hank back to take us inside the state's coronavirus command center. So a lot more to come. All right, now to breaking news as a man sues the University of Michigan claiming Dr. Robert E. Anderson molested him dozens of times in the 1980s. Now, the man so far is only being identified as John Doe, but he was a wrestler at Michigan. He also claims the school failed to remove Anderson even though there were complaints about him. Anderson died in 2008. Michigan didn't start investigating him until 10 years later. A news conference to ask for a Michigan Attorney General's investigation is set for tomorrow.
Well, after a gloomy start to the day, the sun is shining and warming things up just a bit out there.
Pretty mild again. Let's get over to Ben here. It's Wednesday, which is definitely not too soon to start looking at the weekend, Ben.
No, considering what we've got coming, you're definitely right, Kim and Devin. And those temperatures don't look half bad, considering we were dealing with snow in some spots this morning. Low to mid 40s out there. A little bit of a noticeable breeze, not quite as bad as what we're going to get at the end of the week. But look at the difference in temperature. Forecast highs for Friday are going to take a step backwards to 38. By the end of the weekend, some of us are going to be pushing 60 degrees in the afternoon. That's quite a spread. We'll show you if it's a one and done number or if we've got more of that to come. That's all in a few minutes. Devin.
All right, Ben. Major developments in the race for the White House. After a less than stellar showing on Super Tuesday, former New York Mayor Mike Bloomberg has dropped out of the race and throwing his support and considerable money behind Joe Biden. Let's take a look at the results of our exclusive Local 4 Detroit News poll. We asked Bloomberg supporters who their second choice would be, and the overwhelming answer was Biden by a margin of more than 2-1. Alice Barr following yet another shakeup on the campaign trail. Good evening, Alice.
Good evening. With a new endorsement today from Mike Bloomberg, Joe Biden has seized control of the moderate lane. The question now, whether he can build a broad and sustainable coalition to counter Bernie Sanders' rock-solid base. Joe Biden supercharged today after a night that was expected to tilt toward Bernie Sanders.
We are very much alive!
Super Tuesday instead rocketing Biden to the top in what is rapidly becoming a head-to-head matchup with Sanders, a showdown between the party's moderate and progressive wings.
What this campaign, I think, is increasingly about is which side are you on?
The Biden boost continuing today with a new endorsement from Mike Bloomberg, who ended his short, expensive, and unsuccessful run. Today pledging to use his considerable resources to help Biden beat President Trump.
I entered the race for president to defeat Donald Trump. And today, I am leaving the race for the same reason.
Sanders leads in Tuesday's biggest prize, California, though a large number of mail-in ballots mean it's still too early to call. NBC News projects he did carry Colorado, Utah, and Vermont. Biden picking up 10 projected wins from New England to the Midwest and a clean sweep of southern states, surging to a surprise victory in delegate-rich Texas.
I think the Democrats have sent the signal that they really want to come after Trump. And they think Biden is the guy to do it.
The last wild card, Elizabeth Warren, assessing her path forward after a dismal Super Tuesday, finishing third in her home state of Massachusetts.
Elizabeth Warren, if she does drop out and endorse Bernie Sanders, this race will tighten even more.
Two candidates now squaring off to slug out the nominations state by state in the weeks ahead. The race now shifts to 6 states voting next Tuesday and 4 more the following week, including the critical test of Florida. In Washington, Alice Barr, Local 4.
All right, Alice, of course, that takes us to Michigan up next with 5 other states. In fact, next on the primary calendar, and Bernie Sanders will be making a campaign stop here in Detroit. That will be coming up on Friday. He's going to hold a rally at 7 p.m., and that will be at TCF Center, which perhaps you still and will always call Cobo.
It's hard to make that change. A federal judge strikes down a work requirement for Michigan Medicaid.
The judge ruled Michigan Medicaid recipients do not have to work to receive coverage. That reverses a policy signed into law by former Governor Rick Snyder. Without the ruling, more than 80,000 Medicaid recipients would have lost coverage on May 31st. But 4 Michigan residents sued the federal government in November to stop the law from going into effect.
Today, Mayor Mike Duggan helped break ground on a project aimed at boosting Detroit's neighborhoods. Starting today, work will begin in the city's Cornerstone Village and Rosedale Park neighborhoods to upgrade the water and sewer system. Our Rod Maloney was there today and shows us why this project is so important to the growth of the city.
When Detroit emerged from bankruptcy, they came out of the grand bargain. One of the hopes was that the city, and particularly its water and sewer department, would operate like other cities. In other words, have a system that works and have constant repairs that get done and get ahead of the problem instead of chasing the difficulties. Well, here we are in 2020, and they say they're well underway.
The construction starts with cutting open the pavement to expose water mains, water lines, most of them lead, pipes leading to the fire hydrants and sewer pipes. For the most part, EWSD has attacked the least reliable parts of its century-old system, fixing some 40 miles of water mains. Now it's looking to spend $500 million over 5 years and use a coordinated effort to fix or shore up everything at once, one neighborhood at a time. Here in Cornerstone Village, residents like Glenn Fenderson could not be happy.
Every time it rains, we get afraid.
Considering he's seen 10 basement sewage backups over the years.
And I got with different insurance companies because they'll kick you out, but you have to report it because it's just mess up everything in the basement, you know, the floor, the furniture, everything.
Mayor Mike Duggan's most happy with the fact that the new system is not forcing ratepayers to break the bank.
We're not rebuilding the system with 10, 12, 14% increases the city had seen in the past.
It's a major welcome development in neighborhoods where they've been more than patient.
We love the neighborhood, you know, and this just makes the neighborhood even better.
So the construction equipment is going to be in this neighborhood for the next 2 years. But they're already looking down the road at other places like Miller Grove and Brewster Douglas. In Detroit, Rod Maloney, Local 4.
Okay, Rod, and the mayor says there's another bonus for residents. Michigan state law says they own the lead water lines piping water to the homes. So as part of the project, the city will volunteer to replace the lead line with copper as long as you sign paperwork giving the lead line to the city.